Philip, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. Philip, this was scary. I woke up this morning and there were several things in this story that scared the life out of me. One, that we should be on a war footing, and the other is that government ministers didn't even bother turning up to any exercises. They sent a minion, a civil servant instead. What do you make of it all?
I think it's shocking. The first role of government is to protect the nation, and you can't protect the nation unless you're preparing for it. And if we look at, I've been involved in the international geopolitics game, whether it be in the military or commentating on it and writing on it for over 40 years. And this is the first year that I can see a clear path or several clear paths to World War III. We've got a major war in Europe. In Ukraine, we've got the Middle East falling apart. We've got China becoming more aggressive in Southeast Asia, and there are ways that those could join together relatively quickly. And unless you get government departments coming together to plan multiple different things and look at how we can defend ourselves, then you don't get the coordination. The Ministry of Defence itself in 1994 said it would take nearly 4 years' notice and 2 years of preparation to get ready to defend the United Kingdom. If the MOD is not doing it, what hope is there for the other government departments?
So why? I mean, you agree that we are on a pre-war footing, and we should be on a pre-war footing, and the government should be doing more. Why aren't they? Why aren't they taking it seriously, Philip?
Well, I think there's a complacency, and we heard the minister turn around and say that, I was only on an exercise a couple of weeks ago where we're looking at one scenario. Well, that's brilliant, one scenario. But as soon as you start to put multiple scenarios together and the impact on each other, that's where you need an overall response. And if the mechanisms of government, if our communication systems are removed, if Westminster disappears in a big flash, then how is government in the country going to work? Now, those sorts of scenarios are a long way off, if not highly improbable. But going through the process will identify how different government departments can interact better with other departments, can identify what are the key issues that need to be dealt with, can outline savings and efficiencies in the way things are done today. So this should be a routine part of what the government does.
And it's routine that they just don't bother turning up, sending a civil servant minion instead. So, I mean, do you subscribe, Philip, to the thought that we should be talking about a citizens' army? We should be talking about selective conscription. Are we at that stage yet?
A citizens' army is slightly different. It's an undefined term that people have thrown around because it gets sound bites. Selective conscription, if the military can't recruit and retain enough people, and I think last year they lost 5,000 overall, if you compare those that are leaving and those that are coming in. There's going to have to be some form of selective recruitment, and we should be looking at expanding the military. That's good for our economy. That's very good for our economy at the moment, just so that we prepare, because to get ready for the potential conflict scenarios that are there will take 2 to 5 years, if not longer. And if we don't start now, we're not sending a clear message to those that want to do us harm. That increases the possibility of them coming to do us harm. But if we start to prepare, they'll look at it and go, well, no, we'll not do this. And we're not going to lose out. It costs a lot of money whenever you look at it as just a single figure going into the Ministry of Defence. But most of that money is reinvested back in the country again. So it's good.
Philip, there's been a criticism also of people aren't being recruited because we're concentrating too much on, the twin evils, as some people call them, of inclusivity and diversion, rather than concentrating on getting people who can just get out there and fight and do the job. I mean, do you think that has been a problem with recruitment recently?
I think there's a lot of that. The military is too PC. I talk to people across the military all the time, and they're having to jump through hoops and to do things that are disabling, and they're not being looked after in their accommodation. They're not being looked after in their terms and conditions. Military pay at the more junior levels is terrible. At the more senior levels, is significant. But the Ministry of Defence in the Chief of Defence People's area has got an inclusiveness and diversity 2-star civil servant. Now that's a general rank that's in there, who's paid over £100,000 a year.
Wow.
With a complete department of people looking at things. I've seen zero beneficial output from that department, and they're all on final salary pensions. So Ministry of Defence is wasting money hand over fist on a lot of this, like a lot of other government departments are doing as well.